your fight, this fight has to be here in Carthage and with the adults in the room.
Every day
And
they have a mask on.
Yeah, they can't wear.
That is true. That is true.
The governor has no control.
That is absolutely true. The governor should not be a dictator. And we are going to be pushing back as hard as we humanly can. And I think you're going to see you're going to see much more of that, especially as we go, as we all get vaccinated, those who want to be vaccinated, and especially as those who decided not to be vaccinated. Good, they've decided not to be vaccinated. That's freedom. Yes.
If you both feel strongly that you are not wearing the masks and you are part of the population that can be affected, the children are not. They're minusculely affected. How is it that you are not fighting for us? How come it's you that are not telling the principals? How come it's you that's not out there saying the parents have the right to tell their children not to wear masks? Why is it that you are not there for the parents of the children?
We are there for the parents of the children, and I will tell your principals I will tell your principals that freedom means not wearing masks. All that being said, don't forget, you are fighting, unfortunately, the legislature, which authorized the use of the toolkit, because that's a legislative law. That is SB 520. I forget which one. All right. Yes, that was SB 220.
You guys are the
No.
legislative
That was your
body.
legislator.
You have the most control. It's local control.
Okay.
You have more control.
All right.
You do.
We are going to do our fight.
Doesn't feel like
We
you are.
well,
It doesn't.
well, I have to tell you
Put
something.
it back on us.
We just like we are 3 people against 4 legacy school board members. You have to cut us. You have to demand that we fight, but you're not going to expect us to do it tomorrow. If I told you, all of you, to take your kids and rip off their masks and go marching into school, I would be telling you to make your children suffer for something that the parents have to do. Work with us. All I'm saying is we will work with you.
Tell us what it is you're doing that's going to be working with us.
You guys
What is it that
inspire.
you're mandating? What is it that you're offering? What is it that you're telling the other people in your committee that this is not the way it should be?
We are telling them that young kids, as a matter of fact, I'm going to tell you what I told the principal of West End Elementary just last week. I believe it was last Friday, just this past Friday when I toured West End Elementary. I saw some kids, and they were out on the field out there, and they were doing calisthenics. It was an elementary school, but they're still doing jumping jacks and the like. And I pointed out to the principal that these kids don't need to have masks on. So those are the things that I'm doing. And some of the things we're going to have to bring resolutions before the board. And we're going to have to work very, very, very hard. And that needs to be coordinated with the legislature, because they're going to simply say that the legislature has ordered the Department of Health and Human Services to do certain things, and therefore they're doing certain things. We're fighting back.
They don't have the right.
Give us
You have the right.
all I'm
Your
saying.
body has your back.
All I'm saying is, if you will have our back, we will fight for you.
No, Sheriff Ronnie has your back. Sheriff Ronnie has your back.
What was the outcome of the 4 schools that are getting vaccinated?
And what are the consequences for them circumventing the board?
Can they be sued if kids get injured from the vaccines?
Yes.
They're going to mandate.
So actually talked to the superintendent just a little bit.
Sure, thank you.
Just a little bit ago.
I hate we couldn't come earlier.
Regarding that matter, and what he did say was that he should not have done that. He did say that he shouldn't have done that. He should have mentioned it to the board and got their opinion. And I said, you know what, you really should. But
Can you undo it?
Undo it.
so this is what I was talking. This is what I learned. Okay, so he and the health department director, Mr. Whitman, they got together and they collaborated and said, hey, why don't we, for the less fortunate children, why don't we just put it up there so they can have an opportunity? That's what they said.
Okay.
So-
And you fell for that.
That's what I took. That's my whole argument. It is. It
Fell
really
for
is.
that.
And if parents want their children to be vaccinated, they'd find a way to do it.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, but they,
You can't mandate it.
Right,
It's not
it's
what
not-
you
Let me tell you, I wrote the principal, I wrote the superintendent, and I told the superintendent that under no circumstances will extracurricular activities be based upon vaccinations.
so that communication.
And as a matter of fact, that is going to be the rule in Moore County schools. Now, we I've gotten the superintendent to pull back on his speculation that is going to happen. All right, and these are the things that we're going to fight back on. Every time those woke people up there try to make a move, we will fight back.
So is
And
the
that
letter
is
going
what
out
we're
to
going to do for you
parents,
guys.
letting them
Yeah.
know
I'm
that?
wondering if you said it was protocol for them to have asked you to come. Like
Yes.
they were supposed to inform you that was the protocol, right? But they didn't do it.
Yes.
They didn't let you know, and he said he should have. It is the right thing to do. He said he should have, but he didn't. Well, what if then you said, but if my child should, the protocol is you wear a mask. But if my child comes to school and he doesn't wear a mask, he's gonna have a consequence. But these people had no consequence.
Right.
So what
Oh,
is that?
wait a second. I will tell you that the superintendent's evaluation is coming up. Now, unfortunately, that is confidential,
Fire him.
but we are going to hold the superintendent's feet to the
Fire
fire.
him.
Your consequence is going to come later.
Yeah.
Today we're just going to go with what you did. So when my child leaves the house when they weren't supposed to, and I get mad at him, but I'm going to give you a consequence later as they go out and have
Fire
fun.
him.
That is not a consequence. That is a delay of an issue. But is that what you're going to do if my child comes to school tomorrow and doesn't wear their mask? Are you going to say, well, we'll give you a consequence later? Are they going to get the same treatment? Because then I'm fine.
They continue to do this, the pattern of behavior, because they got away with
If your
it.
child, one of the things we're fighting is the previous school board gave this superintendent a multi-year contract because they knew we were going to be elected.
You can fire him.
We have to, you're right, it is hypocrisy. And,
Yes, I know school law.
he has I would love to fire him tomorrow. He has a contract today.
It doesn't matter.
That firing him would cost children and the taxpayers probably about $10 million.
You don't need to buy him out.
But
Fire his ass.
we just remember one thing. We will fight for you.
You know, this
That
buying
is
out-
what we are here to do.
you can fire
We will
his ass.
always
I know
fight
school
for
law.
you.
How do we impact the review that's coming up? How can we impact his
They
review?
can. I know
Best
school
way for us
law.
What you simply do is write to various members of the school board, and I know you've got 3 here who are going to give him a really rough time. But I'm going to tell you something. Even those other would-be politicians who are going to defeat those legacy school board members who are going to defeat in 2 years, they will look up and they will perk up when you send them all your letters over here and tell them exactly how exactly you feel. Write letters to the pilot. Talk about it on social media. Get,
Who
I
does-
know you're active.
Who does
Get
his
as active
review?
as you
Who
can.
does his review? Who's
We
responsible?
do. The board does.
board does?
The board does.
He violated his contract. He should be fired.
Well, we're
It's a
going
moral
to.
clause. You can't just do this kind of stuff and go around the school board. It's a violation. You guys
Off your
are
contract.
our
simple.
representatives for the school. He's not our God. You are between us and God. You're supposed to help us.
To say I shouldn't have done it is not enough. Because it's going to happen tomorrow morning.
And we will fight.
stop
We will fight for you. But just do me a favor. Do me a favor. Support us. Flood the inbox of the pilot with letters and the like. We need to count on you.
Tell these kids right here that if one of their siblings dies, if they get that shot, tell them that they're not worth it. They were not worth it. Stop it. Please tell me that's right. Tell these children that if the
That's the truth.
for a child can sign off. That's right.
So would you give your children permission to get the COVID-19 vaccination?
No, I will not.
Then they're not in danger of dying because it's not
Kids
mandatory.
forge signatures all the time. Tell me what.
And they're bullying the kids to make the kids think they aren't going to be able to do things because they don't have the shot. So my daughter came home crying. I'm not going to get to go graduate. I'm
So
not
that
going
is
to
good.
because of what they're saying.
Our
colleges require it, they're saying.
Students need to consider they may not get into colleges if they don't have this vaccine. So they're putting the
They're
fear of
threatening
God
them.
into these students and these parents. Like they
So-
have no other choice.
So I cannot unsend an email, right?
They need to reset. Or
They need to send
cancel
something rescinding what they said. They need to
They make
re-educate
amends
the
and
teachers.
change what they've done.
The principals, they need to tell the children that is not the case.
With bad weather, you can shut down the school in 2 hours. I've seen it
I
done
said
so
40
many
times,
times.
100%. I didn't want to ask for you guys to ask them to do that.
Is there a question? I'm more than happy to answer questions, but I attempt to answer questions and I just get more
I support you guys.
non-questions.
I'm so appreciative of you guys. I came from California where there is no voice from the parents. None. So the fact that you guys are standing up for us is huge. But I want my children to know that they're safer here, that they're not going to be forced. In California, they give them the shot. My kids are scared going to school because they think that the school people are going to jab them without my permission or their own.
Yeah, so let me tell you what I did, right? And I apologize. Most of you all know I have a vocal cord issue. Trust me, I'm not cowering in fear. My voice just does this occasionally. But anyway, so I'll tell you what I did. I was away on extended visit. I talked about this on the radio this morning. I was away on an extended trip, and all of a sudden Friday I started getting these messages. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. So I was a bit handicapped and I couldn't figure out factual, what was going on. But my number one thing is parental notification required, right? So the first thing I did is I satisfied myself that parental permission was required and there was some sort of positive control over that. So at that point, I had no objections to a health department using Moore County Schools facilities for a flu vaccination, an MMR, whatever. I have no issues with the health department using Moore County Schools, but they can set a tent up here and do vaccinations while people shopped at Cooper Ford and, got good deals on locally. Anyway, sorry for the oh my God, Cooper Ford commercial. Anyway, as long as there's positive parental control and parental permission is required. But then, and this is all posted on my Hensley School Board page, but there's 3 caveats to that. First of all, I stated, as did Bob state, that if the North Carolina High School Athletic Association attempts to make COVID-19 vaccinations required for our student athletes without a federal or state mandate, then I'm going to recommend that Moore County Schools pulls out the North Carolina High School Athletic Association. Like Bob, I also said that as long as I'm on the school board, absent any mandate, any state law or federal law that requires a COVID-19 vaccination, then there's not going to be COVID-19 vaccinations required in Moore County School. My body, my choice. It's a personal decision that a family makes, And again, absent any federal or state law, then it's not going to happen here in Moore County. The third point is, and this is very important, and again, you can go to Hensley School Board and see this, but the Moore County Schools is not a medical provider. And Bob and I talked a bit about this, and our position is exactly the same. If the Moore County Health Department wants to hang up posters advertising, free shots on Wednesday at 3 p.m., great. If they want to pass out factual flyers saying here's factual information, great. But Moore County schools should not be putting out any information pro or con against the COVID-19 vaccination. So that's been addressed. And then the third thing that I heard here today was, the lack of notice by the central office to the Board of Education. So they did nothing illegal. They certainly have the power to unilateral do COVID-19 vaccinations, just as us as a board could convene and say, no, you're not, right? So they did nothing wrong by doing these, given the political nature and given the concerns, the valid concerns of large numbers of citizens in Moore County. There should have been more notification, and it should have been brought up at the last school board meeting, which, by the way, was only 8 days ago. Wait, today Monday? Tuesday. Today's Tuesday, 8 days ago. So anyway, that's my position, and thank you. Yes, ma'am.
My concern about all of this is with the other parents is that something like this could get abused by the children, these high schoolers that want to get the shot. Their parents don't want them to, and then something happens to them that's physical. They get, damaged by it, have a bad reaction, whatever. But also, what you guys, I think, could do in the future, if you're going to continue with this kind of thing, working with the health department, is to, if they were over there at the Ford, okay, they would not let a high school student just walk up and their parents would have to be with them. Okay, so if you're going to be doing this, if they're going to be there, their parents should be with them to get a vaccination like that, because this is an experimental drug. This isn't like a flu vaccine.
It's not even. It's not a vaccine.
It's not even a vaccine. It's a genetic. Okay.
So yes, I would absolutely agree with you, and that is why there should have been notification, again, 8 days ago in the school board meeting, just so there could be discussions and look at different, course of action, and people could express their concerns. So my question is, what do they mean by positive parental control? And I think we share that concern.
Because we're gonna have to call it quits for the questions, but I just want to tell you how much we all appreciate everyone here helping us, coming out here today, and your presence alone lets those people in there know exactly what your goals are. And we're with you, and we're going to work for you, and I just want to thank each and every one of you for all you're doing for us. Thank you.